My name is James Arthur Newman, and the Newman is spelt Newman.
And your middle name is
Arthur,
A?
Arthur, and James, James.
Yes, in reverse order.
Yeah, in reverse order.
James Arthur Newman.
Yeah, that's right.
What is your birthday?
13th of July, 1933.
13th of July.
July, 1933.
So you are now 80?
85.
Ooh. You look great, sir.
I feel great.
Yeah. And where were you born?
In Hamilton.
Right here.
Yeah, Hamilton, just north of here.
And tell me about your family background when you were growing up, your parents and your siblings all together.
My father was a farmer. He had a farm balloted from the First World War. He went to the First World War, was at Gallipoli and in France. And when he came back, he got a balloted farm.
What is that? Balloted?
Balloted. You go into a ballot, and if your name comes out, you get a farm.
By ballot.
Ballot, yeah.
Oh, that's how it happened?
That's how it happened. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a kind of lottery system.
That one was, but that was because nobody had any money. They couldn't buy a farm because they didn't have the money. So they went into a ballot to win a farm, and they paid it off over the years.
So was it for the kind of special treatment to the soldiers returning from?
Yes.
Ah.
Yes.
That's a very interesting.
Yes, that's what happened.
So he got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was lucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an old estate not far from where he got his farm, and they broke that estate up and balloted out, and a number of farmers got farms.
Very good. You have enormous territory here, so.
Yes, yeah.
What about your siblings?
My siblings.
When you were growing up?
Oh, when I was growing up.
Yeah.
I had two brothers and 3 sisters.
So altogether, 3 boys, 3
right.
girls. And you were in the middle or eldest?
Yes, I'm in the middle.
In the middle.
Yeah. I have 2 older than me and 3 younger than me.
Please tell me about the school you went through.
Mangatapara Primary School. It was a country school, and all the local children went to it at the primary level. For high school, they had to go into Morrinsville to go to school. They went by bus. But no buses at our school, at Mangatapara School. Everybody either had to walk or go by bike into the school.
So did you bike?
No, I walked. Our farm was very close to the school.
Ah. And so when did you graduate school?
I left school at 15.
Oh, at the age of 15?
I left school at the age of 15.
Oh. Why?
Because I didn't like it.
You're too honest. You didn't like it?
No.
You didn't want to study at the time?
No.
Huh. So what happened?
It's never done me wrong, because I have been officer in charge of Scott Base down the Antarctic. I've been to the Korean War. I've been in a judicial role for 20 years. Leaving school at 15 didn't hurt me at all.
At all?
No.
What if you finished the high school and become the president of New Zealand?
It's fairy tale stuff.
Wow, that's great that you quit the school and now you are one of the most, leading judicial kind of leaders here.
Yeah, I led the employment tribunal when I retired. I was leading it.
Wow, impressive. So what did you do after you quit the school?
Afterwards?
You quit the school at the age of 15. What
15.
did you do?
Yes, I I got various jobs for about a 9 months period, and then I decided to join the Navy. And at 17, I joined the Navy. 16, sorry, I joined the Navy, and I went into training for a year, and then at 17 years of age, I went to Korea on HMNZS.
HM.
NZS.
NZS.
NZS. Hawea. HAWEA.
Yeah.
So I went to Korea at 17. Went to war at 17.
When was it? What year was it?
That was must have been 1950, beginning in 1950.
So it was after the war broke out, right?
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
We were the second lot of New Zealand frigates to go to Korea. When the war broke out, 2 New Zealand frigates went straight away, and we came back and we relieved them of their duties, and they came home, and we went up.
So you are the second.
Second.
Do you know Brian Johnson? He was in the same frigate.
How was he?
But he was after 51 and 52.
Yeah.
Brian Johnson.
Yeah, no, he'd be on the second trip of the Hawea. When we came back, the same ship just went back up again with a new crew.
Right.
But I do know Brian Johnson.
So
Whether it was the same one or not, I don't know.
I think it's, you know him. He went to Korea 51 to 52.
Yes.
So it must have been after you.
After me, yes.
But same frigate.
Yes, same name.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did interview him yesterday.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, yeah.
Where is he?
I don't know.
Oh, you don't know where he lives?
I don't know where he lives,
Oh,
but he was lost on the way to his home, so he was kind of upset.
That's no different from me, because my wife and I came out yesterday trying to find this place, and we got lost.
Aha.
And this morning, I went to about 4 different roads, and I got lost, but eventually we came here.
So it's a Te Awamute, not Roturangi. Yeah. Anyway, so where were you in the sea? What sea were you were?
Sorry?
Around the Korean Peninsula, you were in the west or east?
Oh, no, we were in the western side.
Right?
Western side,
Yeah.
nearly all the time. Although on one particular occasion, this is on the Canary, which is the second trip I went on.
Yeah.
We went right up and to the Chinese border with an American destroyer, I think it was. And we went up there, and the Chinese flew some jets over our ships.
Oh.
They didn't do any damage or anything. They didn't fire any guns.
Why didn't they do anything?
Well, we were in open waters.
Oh, yeah, right. Open waters.
Yeah, we were in open waters. We were about 10 kilometres off the shore.
Pretty close.
Pretty close.
Why?
I don't know. I was a sailor. I wasn't a decision maker in those days.
So what was your specialty then?
I had 2 specialties. One was radar operator, and the other one was deep sea diving.
Deep sea diving?
Yep.
Wow. Where did you learn that?
In the Navy, the Navy have a good diving team, and you start off shallow depths and you end up very deep water. The deepest I've been is 210 feet.
Wow.
It's deep.
Very deep. How is it like to be in that deep?
Very black.
Black?
Black. No light. No light coming from above. You couldn't see anything.
And were you not afraid of any sea animal like a shark?
Oh no, I had at one stage, on that dive in fact, because you have stops coming up. You have to stop for about a couple of minutes every so often. And when I was near the surface, 14 porpoises
Yeah.
came and had a look at me. Some of them came right up to my face.
Shark?
No, porpoise.
Porpoise.
Yeah.
And?
Yeah, they didn't do any harm.
Ah.
They were just inquisitive.
I am so afraid to be in the ocean because of this, the Jaws, the movies, so
Yeah.
I can't be there.
Yeah.
You are not afraid of anything
No,
like that?
not afraid of.
Pretty good.
Oh, if the big shark came in and had a close look at me, I'd be afraid. But porpoises were quite friendly.
Right. And any dangerous moment that you encountered during your service in the West Sea?
In the sea?
Yeah. I mean, when you were in Korea.
Oh, in Korea?
Yeah.
We had one quite magnificent trip.
Tell me.
And it was with a British frigate. I've forgotten the name of it now. But the Hawier and this frigate went right up the west coast of Korea, and went in the middle of the night. We went down the Yalu River. Now the Yalu River, as you know, is communist China on the northern side,
Right.
and
North Korea.
North Korea on the south side. And we went up that river, the Yalu River, about 15 miles. And this was early hours of the morning. We never received any shots coming from shore. They were totally unprepared for it.
Huh.
And we set off our guns at about 2 o'clock in the morning. And we fired as many rounds as we possibly could.
Toward what?
Sorry?
Toward what? Where did you shot at?
Well, we were shooting it on the southern shore of the Yalu River.
Why? Were there any enemies?
We don't know, because I was on a gun.
You were just ordered to shot it?
That's right.
Huh.
And I believe it was for a place where they stored all their goods and things like that.
Oh.
That's what I believe, but
Okay.
whether that's right or not, I don't know.
That's a very rare mission. I never heard about anything that Navy actually shot at up to the Yalu River.
Yep.
You know where Yalu River is, right?
Yeah, between communist China
it's
and
a borderline.
Borderline, yeah.
And no enemies reacted to your ship.
No, not one shot come our way at all. We were a total surprise to them. It was a bit of a surprise to us as well. But,
So, tell me about it more. So what happened after you bombed them?
Well, we shelled them.
Yeah.
We had one 4-inch gun, and we had Ehrlichins and Bofors, and they all shot. Those that were able to bear on North Korea, they used them. And they shot as many rounds as they could in the short time that they were doing it. What happened is that we went up, the ships turned around to come back again, and then they fired.
I see.
They didn't fire on the way up there. They fired after they turned around and started to come back again.
Was damaged?
No damage.
Not at all.
Not one.
Nobody killed.
Not one shell came in our direction.
Huh.
And that must have been.
So they are basically very defenseless.
They were up there. I think they might have changed their mind after we left. Yeah.
That was very special. When was it? 1951?
That was be 1951. Yeah, very early in 51, I think. 51, yeah. Around about that time. I couldn't tell you the exact date.
Any other episode?
Yes, on the Hawier, 4 of us, including the Padre, got off up the Han River estuary.
Oh.
And they put us on shore with a Korean boat, just took us ashore, and we stayed the night with the Americans in a observation post. And then we got across the river, the Han River, which was frozen at the time, on a tank, alligator tank. And then we went to an American where they had a number of tank-mounted guns, and they were firing at the North Koreans. And then we got hitched a ride from there into Busan, not Busan, Seoul.
Seoul?
Seoul, yeah.
Seoul.
We hitched a ride into Seoul. And we stayed the night there.
In the ship or in the shore?
No, we were on the shore.
Ah.
Yeah, on the shore. We left the ship. And we stayed the night in Seoul, and the padre arranged for a vehicle to take us all around Seoul and have a look at what damage has been done. And the only thing that wasn't damaged was the railway station.
So you saw Seoul in 1951?
51, yeah.
Wow, it's also rare experience for Navy crewmen.
Oh yes, yeah.
To be in the land and be able to see how Seoul was at the time.
That's right.
Give us very details of what looked like at the time of Seoul, because not many Navy actually had that chance.
No, that's right.
And young student wants to hear from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the only area we saw that wasn't damaged at all was the railway station. Nearly every other street was damaged in some way. Some of it in major damage, other slightly less damage, but all were damaged, with the exception of the railway station.
And when you saw those things, how did you feel about Korea? I mean, did you know anything about Korea before you went to Korea? You didn't learn anything from Seoul?
Didn't even know where it was beforehand. You have to remember, I left school at 15.
Yeah, right. So what did you do until 15? You didn't study much. You didn't know where Korea was.
I didn't like the teachers.
You wanted to teach, right? So you didn't know nothing about Korea. And when you see that the capital city of Korea is completely devastated, what were you thinking? Be honest. What were you thinking?
I thought it was terrible. The fact that the civilians especially, they had no say in anything. The army virtually was in control of Seoul. The civilians had very little to say. And all they were worried about was living from day to day. One of the most poignant things I've ever seen was a family of Koreans. We went from Seoul, we went up to the front lines. And on the way up, we saw this family.
What do you mean? You stayed one night in Seoul and then you went up to north?
Yes, went up to the front lines.
Were you able to do that?
Oh,
what
yes.
about, I mean, were you ordered to do that?
No, we wanted to do it.
Okay.
We wanted to go up and see the New Zealand Army. So we just arranged for a transportation. We had a padre with us, and nobody argues with padres.
Yeah.
He was the boss.
Yeah. Father.
Yeah. Oh, no, not a father. He was Church of England.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Church of England, yes. Yeah. So you went up to where?
We went up to... I know Hill 355 wasn't far away because I went up it.
Really?
Yeah. We went to this place where the New Zealand Army was, and they had guns. They had artilleries, and they were in charge of that.
You're not writing a novel now, right? You were really up to Hill 355.
Yeah.
As a member of Navy crewman, you had that chance.
Yes.
This is hard to believe.
Well, it's true.
Ah. Do you have a picture?
Oh, I actually, sorry, I meant to bring a little piece of shrapnel
Oh.
When I was going up, I was asked if I wanted to go to Hill 355. And I said, yes, please. I wasn't allowed to, but I still went. I disobeyed orders and got on this jeep, and we went up the hill. And to get to Hill 355 from where the New Zealand Army was, you had to go across some flat land. And you could see the people working in the fields about a kilometre away. And we were told later on some of those people would be working for the North Koreans. Anyway, when we got up the hill, the jeep turned around and we got out to have a look around. And within a minute, they started to mortar. The North Koreans started to mortar the hill. Mm. And I got in a hole, in a foxhole, and there was a little Korean kid in there as well. And I shared the foxhole with him while the mortars kept coming in. And one mortar went not very far from us, exploded, and a piece went past my ear and into the bank. And I dug that piece out, and I've still got it.
You are the only Navy crew that I ever heard that you were in the foxhole.
Yes, I was the only one to get in the foxhole.
What was your rank at the time?
Able seaman. Able seaman.
So pretty low.
Very low.
You were at the bottom,
Yeah,
and then but still you were able to do all these things.
Yep.
So you were lucky to be with the Padre.
Yes. The thing is, if you don't ask, you don't get anywhere.
Exactly. You have to knock the door.
You have to be a bit brave and ask people if you could do something. Mm-hmm. And we did that.
I think because you were able to do because you didn't get much education. You quit that door.
Quite possibly. It didn't worry me.
Yeah, right. You know, why do we worry, right?
Yeah.
So that's what you did. And then when did you come back to the ship, frigate?
We were away about 10 days in total, I think, from memory. But we went down, when we came back from the front lines, we went back to Seoul. Uh-huh. And then from Seoul, we got on the train to Busan. Wow. And then we got into Busan, and we had to bludge a ride from the Australians who were flying DC-3s on courier trips. And so we bludged a ride back to Japan. We landed on the...
What do you mean? You didn't go back to the ship?
Yeah, well, the ship was back in Japan at the stage.
So you fly from Busan?
We flew from Busan.
Fly from Busan?
Yep, to the inland sea. There was an airfield on the inland sea, or very close to it. And we landed there, and then got a ride from there to our ship, which was in Kure.
It's hard to believe.
It's true.
Oh. How many of you were doing that?
There was
one Padre, right?
And 3 others. And I was one of those 3.
So it was kind of special occasion.
Oh, yes.
Arranged for the Padre.
Arranged by the Padre.
By the Padre.
Yeah. Not for him.
You were lucky.
I was lucky. Of course I'm lucky. I've been lucky all my life.
So on the way down to Busan through the railway, what did you see? How was Busan?
Busan, some damage. But people were walking around and weren't too concerned about the immediacy of war. We had a good look around. We went to one place we went to were the fish markets, and that was amazing.
Why?
I've never seen one before.
How did you feel it? Be honest.
Sorry?
Be honest. When you see that fish market, what did you think of it?
Oh, it was great. Because the fish some of them were still swimming around.
Wow. And after you returned to your frigate, what happened? Did you come back to Korean Sea?
No, because this was our final trip of that particular frigate. And when we got back to Kure and got back on the ship, I think with about 2 or 3 days later, we left for Hong Kong to come home.
When was it? 1951 or 52?
No, 51.
Month?
Sorry, 1951.
1 month. Late winter or summer?
Oh. Well, it wasn't cold.
Autumn?
It must have been autumn, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you been back to Korea?
Yes, many times.
Oh, what occasion?
Well, I'm...
Show it to the camera, please. Yes, what does it tell?
I'm the Vice Chairman of the International Federation of Korean War Veterans Associations.
Aha.
And I represent New Zealand.
Did you meet American counterparts?
Yep.
Do you know of anybody there?
Not, I can picture one guy in my mind, but I can't tell you his name.
Larry Kinnard?
Yeah, he's a Larry. Yeah.
Larry, do you know him?
Yeah, I know of him.
Ah.
Yeah, I've met him.
He's a very good friend of mine.
Is he?
He's been very, very supportive of this project.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's a very good friend of mine.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I can call him now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
do.
when were you back to Korea?
Well, I've been back, I think, 5 times. 5? Well, I've been back, 1, 2, 3 times for that, and I have had 2 revisits.
Revisit, and when you see Seoul again, when in 20th century, right?
Yep.
Or 21st century?
Well, this 21st. Oh. 16. I think the first time I went back was 2002.
Okay, so tell me, when you see the Seoul, you could feel the difference between Seoul you saw in 1951 and tell me the details. How different? What did you feel about it and so on?
We stayed in a hotel out of town a bit. It was, forgotten the name of it.
Ambassador Hotel? Lotte, Ambassador, or?
Not see, was it?
Yeah,
Not
whatever.
Yeah, whatever. But we stayed there. There's now a huge multi-storied building alongside it. It goes up about 100 stories. It's massive. And that was almost completed the last time I was there. But I was there on that trip, on that one. My wife and I have been up there. We both went to Kaepyeong. We both went to the hut where the negotiations were done for the peace treaty, or the ceasefire.
Panmunjom.
Panmunjom. My wife was able to step over the line and say, I've been to North Korea.
Yeah, right. So when you see that modernized Seoul, what did you think about it?
I thought of the Korean people must have grabbed everything by the hand and said, let's go. Because there's so much difference between when we were there in 1951 and now, or this is 5 years ago, it's a huge amount of difference. Multi-storied buildings for housing. We went down the river and saw all these multi-storied houses, and there were so many of them you could hardly count them. But marvellous what they've done for the people. The business area was modern. You had the under pavement shopping area, and it was great. The Korean people have really tried to get back to normal, and they've made tremendous advances on what it was when I was there.
When you left Korea, did you ever think that Korea would become like this today, 11th largest economy in the world? Did you ever think that Korea would become like this?
I knew they were going to be an economic powerhouse.
Why?
Because of the people, the attitude of the people. Their attitude was not to give in, to try and find a way out. And they were very successful in that. And the results show that they were successful.
But still known as Forgotten War, and
Yes.
not much been covered in our history textbook here in New Zealand either. Why is that?
Well, I've got several books on the Korean War,
Yeah, right.
but I was involved in it.
There are tons of books about Korean War,
Yeah,
but not in our curriculum much.
No.
And there are not many lesson plans.
That's why it was called the Forgotten War, I think. People were sick of war after the Second World War. They were absolutely sick of.
And this is the curricular resources my foundation
Yes.
published in the United States.
Yes.
It's about Korea's place in teaching world history.
Yes,
So what we are trying to do is to connect with the teachers in New Zealand
yes,
and writing curriculum like this so that they can teach about Korea and the war that you fought for.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what we are trying to do.
Well, that's good. Yeah, it's essential that people understand what happens in wars, and what happens to the people who are involved in the war, what happens to the civilians, what happens to the armed forces. It's essential that they understand what's going on, because if they do understand, maybe that will lessen the chance of war again.
Yeah.
But they've got to understand what happened. Yeah.
And I have never done this kind of thing before during the interview. I'm calling Larry Kinnard.
Oh, yes.
He's
yeah,
in Texas.
Yep.
I hope that he answered the phone. If so, you'll be able to talk to him.
Yeah.
Larry?
Hello.
Larry?
Hello. Hello.
Larry, this is Jong-ho.
Okay, can I call you back?
I am calling from New Zealand, and
From New Zealand?
and I am interviewing one of your friends, James Newman.
Oh, yes.
Could you talk to him?
James Newman.
Yeah, talk to him.
Yes.
Hello, Larry. Jim Newman.
Well, hello, Jim Newman. I am glad to hear from you.
I never ever thought I'd talk to you again, but I'm very, very glad. Very, very glad that I can, Larry. Yeah.
Well, how are things
Well-
Korean-wise going there?
Well, I'm still the vice president of the IFKWVA, but we're trying to get one last meeting in
2019 now.
2020. If we can get a meeting then, we'll be very, very happy. And that would be the last meeting of the
Well-
IFK. And how are you keeping
Well-
anyway, my friend?
Oh, we're doing just fine.
Oh, that's
We're still going pretty strong. Our national organization is still going, still strong.
yeah,
But we're losing a lot of our veterans.
yes. Same here, my friend. Same here.
Yeah. Well,
Our KVA branches are slowly dying out because there's nobody to look after them anymore.
yeah.
But however, that's life.
Yeah. Well, are you doing okay?
Yes, I'm doing fine. I'm now 85, and I'm one of the younger ones who went to the Korean War.
Well, that's very good. Well, is John Woo helping you out?
Oh, yes, yes. He's been interviewing me for about half an hour. Anyway,
Well, that's wonderful.
I'll give you back to him, Larry, and look after yourself, my friend, and I'll remember you.
Okay, Jim.
Bye-bye.
Yes, I do remember you well.
So how's Betty doing?
Well, we just had another treatment today, but everything's going okay.
Great, great. You know, I just happened to ask if James know any American representative when he was in Korea, and he's, you know, I asked your name, and he said just instantly recognized it. So this is the first time I ever doing international phone call in the middle of interview.
Well, it's wonderful. Jim was one of my favorite people.
Yeah, I think he becoming my favorite too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, is everything going well with you?
Yes, everything going very, very well. And I think we are going to the same thing, that publishing curricular resources in New Zealand. I had a meeting with scholars and professors here, and they want to do it. So I think I can fund those projects. And if so, then we'll have another book published in New Zealand about the Korean War and its legacy.
You are doing so well, it just makes my heart pitter-pat.
Yeah, thanks to your support. And say hello to Betty. She is always in my mind. And I got to go back to the interview, okay?
Okay, thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
See you, Larry.
Okay, bye.
Huh, this is wonderful, isn't it?
I think it's marvellous. Yeah.
So,
There's the last meeting of the KVA, New Zealand KVA.
okay.
That's the last meeting.
Yeah. Last meeting, that's sad.
Yep.
Okay.
That was in 2016. Yeah.
So you know Elaine Davis Myers in the VA office, Wellington?
No.
No?
Not personally, no.
Okay, so tell me, James,
Yep.
tell me about the legacy of the Korean War and legacy of your service. What is your legacy?
I think the legacy of my service in the Navy was,
Related to Korean War.
yeah, related to the Korean War. Was the fact that we were able to go to a war and assist a country not much bigger than our own country, and to allow them to make up their own mind rather than have it made up for them by a dictator. Nobody likes dictatorial actions, and the Koreans are no different from the rest of the world in that regard.
Next year will be 70th anniversary.
Yes.
Do you have any special message to the Korean people about the war you fought for them?
Yes, the 70th anniversary is an outstanding time to remember what happened during those wars, years of war, from 1950 onwards. It was not nice. It was a terrible time for the Koreans. They have come out of it probably better than any other country in the world. Come out of it, and they fought all the way to better themselves, and that is good.
Are you proud?
Oh, I'm very proud of my service in Korea. Yeah, extremely proud. And here, this is
Explain it to me.
This is when I lived in Auckland, we used to my wife and I used to invite the Korean people out to our house and to have lunch with us. And this is some of the people or most of the people who came out on one particular day. We flew the Korean flag. I have the Consul General there. The Consul General is here.
Yep.
There's the Consul General, and I'm alongside of him. But there's a good mixture of Korean people and New Zealand Korean vets. And we used to have some marvellous times together. But they would come out to our house 2 or 3 times a year.
Very good. James, I wish I had more time to talk about it, but you had a very rare experience as a Navy. You were able to see all those Hill 355, Seoul, Busan, and that's why you could give me the very good witness. What happened to Seoul City? And you revisited Korea several times and compare it with the Seoul that you saw in 1951. So that's great. It's my great honor and pleasure to meet you again, sir, and thank you for sharing all those stories.
That's right. My
and
pleasure.
we are trying to make this into curricular resources for our history education. I think that's the best way to keep your legacy permanently in our educational system.
It's important that you do. It's very important not to forget the past.
And this time, New Zealand, more than 50 interviews will be done, so it will be much stronger than Australia. Great.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.